Is this on? Now it's on. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Dena Dickinson, and this morning we begin our service by lighting a memorial candle for Bill Shepard. Bill was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease several years ago, which progressed rapidly in the past few months. He died this past Monday morning in hospice care at home, surrounded by his family. Bill was a member of First Unitarian for 12 years. He served as treasurer and board member. He was a greeter with his wife Karen until just a few months ago, and he always greeted everyone with that warm and wonderful smile. And he participated in various social groups. Bill's family is planning for an event to celebrate his life sometime in the spring. More information will come about that later.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of San Jose. My name is Bill Bowman, and I am the worship leader for today's service on compassion. I am an almost 61-year-old male. My pronouns are he and him, with a white beard, wearing jeans and a white dress shirt. It is my great pleasure to introduce the Reverend Michael Jones to the service today. Michael Jones has been a member of the Bay Area Betsuan Church for over 35 years. He was active on the board of directors for many years and also on several national boards for the Buddhist Churches of America. Ordained in Kyoto, Japan in 2023, Michael was recognized as a visiting minister Kyoshi in 2024. He currently serves as an assistant minister. Welcome, Reverend Michael. To enter into worship. The great teacher Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Compassion is a verb. It is an action we offer to ourselves and to others." He also said, "A Bodhisattva is someone who has compassion within him or herself and who is able to make another smile or help someone suffer less." Every one of us is capable of this. Again, every single one of us is capable of this. Come, at the bell sound, let us worship together.
We light the chalice, the symbol of our faith, a symbol of hope. We illuminate a world that we feel called upon to serve with love and a sense of justice. If you are online, please light the chalice in your home or the candle in your heart as I light the chalice here in the sanctuary. Then type into the chat where you are lighting. Please join me. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of service. Please stand for the affirmation and remain standing for the opening hymn. Love is the doctrine of this church. For us the truth is a sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls may grow in harmony with the divine. This we covenant with one another. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. La búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio de su oración. Habitar juntos en paz, buscar la verdad y libertad y servir a la humanidad juntos, con el fin de que todas las almas puedan crecer en armonía con el divino. Esto es lo que tratamos unos con otros. And we will sing together. I'm the candle lighter this morning. So now I light the candle for in recognition of the Tamian and Muwekma Ohlone indigenous people, who were the first humans to inhabit and sustain this land thousands of years ago, thousands of years before settler colonizers arrived. We honor the resilience of these indigenous peoples in the face of devastating harm, and we lift up the resilience of their neighboring tribe to the south, the Amamutsan tribal band, with whom we are working to preserve their sacred land, Eurostak, and to ensure that their culture continues to thrive.
And good morning once again. As I mentioned earlier, Thich Nhat Hanh said compassion is a verb. It is an action and a way of being in community both with one another and within ourselves. We live in difficult times. Compassion is a tool that we can use to help us get through this. However, compassion also takes courage, strength, and understanding. When we make love visible in all we say and do, we are showing compassion. We are acting with love and showing that this is something everyone is capable of doing. And while compassion is something you can give to ourselves, it is also something that is shared to reach out to the wider community and letting others know and feel that in these difficult times, they are not alone. So speaking of widening the circle, if you are new here, please reach out to any one of us. You are welcome to join the welcome table after the service during social hour in Hattie Porter Hall through those double doors. We are very fortunate to have a crew of coffee hosts, and please drop by, have some coffee or tea and a treat after the service. If you need a listening ear this week, please get in touch with our Pastoral Associate of the Week, Nancy Coleman. Her email is on the back of the order of service at the bottom. The nursery downstairs is open. We now have a bathroom, complete. We don't need to just use hand sanitizer anymore. Thank you so much to the building committee for making that possible. Yes, wave that hand. Yes. And all three, and the upstairs bathroom and the bottom bathroom 2 are accessible restrooms. The single-use gender-neutral restroom is near the door where you entered over on that side. And now we have a time for the story of all ages. Anyone who is young or young at heart, please come up to the labyrinth. And I believe that we have the slides, is that right? Yes, thank you.
Bill, what are you going to use this?
Okay, is this working okay? Yay. So the story today is I Am We by Susan Verde and art by Peter Reynolds. I know that it is important to take care of me, to focus on my own breath, my own needs, to be kind in my mind. But sometimes I wonder, is that selfish? How does caring for myself help anyone else? This could be me and my cat. But then I realized the better I feel inside, the more I can be there for others. Meow. My friends, my family, my community, because I do not exist alone. I am part of something much bigger than myself. And when we each take the goodness and self-compassion inside and turn it outward, that is how we make progress and change. How we build, create, learn, and show love. How we care for each other affects the world. I am more than just me. I am we. My cat would never allow me to do this to him, but when there are challenges and struggles, I can check on you. You can check on me. We can create a safety net so no one falls. When there is hurtfulness and inequality, we can stand up for one another. We can sit, gather, march, sing, vote, stronger in numbers, louder in voices, as we call for justice. When there are differences in thoughts and opinions, we can have a discussion. Listening, disagreeing, and agreeing with gentleness, finding the right solution for all of us. When there is shyness and a feeling of not belonging, we can be the welcoming committee, interested and thoughtful, making sure there is a place for everyone. When there are problems to be solved with creativity, I can share my talents and you can share yours. We can combine our skills and ideas to dream up something spectacular. When there are good times, successes, and joy, we can celebrate. Show our excitement and pride and encourage one another to keep on rising. Connection is how I grow. Connection is how we grow. Connected is what we are. Part of a worldwide community. Diverse and magnificent, kind and accepting, supportive and present. All of us is important, none of us alone. I am not just me, I am we. And if we put our hearts and heads together, and if we keep on caring for ourselves and one another, anything is possible. And everything. Thank you very much. Get to sing out words here. I left my order of service up here, sorry. Singing the children's blessing. Want to stand up? You'll have to teach me the sign. So, heart be open. Okay. Okay, heart be open to new learning. Here we go. Your lips be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. Thank you.
Now is the time in the service when we invite contributions that help our ministries to grow and thrive. You can pay online at sanjoseuu.org/donate to make your offering with a credit card or through PayPal. And please designate on the memo line whether your offering is for pledge, special collection, or whatever else. This church is here because of the offerings of generations who came before us. Let us invest in the future with this morning's offering. Please give what you can, and remember, if your presence among us is all you can give today, that is enough. Thank you. One announcement, just a minute. One announcement that we wanted to make. There will be a packed action at Our Lady of Guadalupe on Monday, October 6th at 6 p.m. It will address universal legal representation for immigrants involved in deportation and detention system, and follows up on the previous action item, action last June. Betty Duong and Dave Cortese will be there, and other elected officials. You can find out more details at the social justice table. To the work of the church, which is making love visible in all we say and do, we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings.
When I read about the Dalai Lama saying, "My religion is kindness," it was a light bulb moment for me. After that, I sought to learn more about Buddhism and started meditating for a half an hour every day. My desire was to be a better, kinder, more compassionate human being. I have seen a change in me over the past decade of my life, and although I do not always succeed, yes, I believe the change has been for the better. Now, in Buddhism, there is the concept of a bodhisattva, a person who desires to relieve the suffering of all human beings and shows compassion toward all. I would like to share the story of one such person who, although we have never met, has made a profound impression on my life. Now, when I joined Facebook in 2009, I had no idea what it meant to get a Facebook request. I just hit sure. And one of the first people to befriend me was a man who I'll call JR, whose son also had cerebral palsy, which is a neuromuscular disorder which makes the muscles in the extremities very stiff and inflexible. But unlike my own case, JR's son was severely intellectually and physically challenged. Yet every photo JR posted of his son showed his son laughing, smiling, enjoying life, his face lighting up with unadulterated joy and happiness with father and son together. And there were a lot of photos. JR believed that he was put on this earth to give the highest quality of life, not just to his son, but to other families with severely disabled children. JR's love was unconditional, all-embracing, and limitless. His primary motivation in life was to serve others to the best of his ability. When JR posted that his son died a few years ago, I sobbed, not just for the son, but also for the parents who had lost their only child, who they had viewed as being such a blessing in their lives. It was only later that I realized JR had shown compassion to me as well by sharing his story with me, and I am a better person for that experience. But the biggest thing I took away from this was the thought, hey, what if everyone could show the same unconditional love for each other JR and his wife showed for their son? What if we could all show up for each other in that manner. What amazing role models they were. What if we could all see the divinity in each other and embrace that with joy? The traditional salutation Namaste has several translations, the most common of which is, "The divine in me sees the divine in you." What if we could all see the divinity in one another? And to me, how we define divinity is irrelevant as long as we do so with unconditional compassion and love. A world of Bada Vistas. I love that idea. Now, recently, there have been several well-known figures in the media, I won't put out any names, who have disparaged the idea of compassion as being a positive thing. Now, I show to see compassion as a sign of great strength and wisdom, and that it is absolutely essential for a healthy and meaningful life. And yes, I try to extend compassion to those people too, even when it is extremely difficult to listen to them. They do not know the benefit of what it means to extend compassion to others. I meditate in hopes that they one day will come to understand this. As the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh said in Peace in Every Step, when you begin to see that your enemy is suffering, that is the beginning of insight. I may be reaching here, but I believe that there can be a world where we all see each other's divinity and that we all care for each other unconditionally. And no, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Not that naive. But I do believe it's possible. It will only be possible, though, if we start working for it now and to remain resilient. And although there may be some very well-known figures like the Dalai Lama, Thich Nhat Hanh, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and others, fortunately, there are some individuals closer to us. Neighbors, friends, or even Facebook friends like JR, who are able to show us what that looks like. And so now we take time to lift up our joys and sorrows, the names and occasions that are on our hearts this morning. In a moment, I'll sound the singing bowl. And after I do, I invite you to speak aloud into this space or type into the chat any joys or sorrows, any names or occasions that you would like lifted up into this community, into this embracing meditation. Losing my extra job. Carolyn's anger. Feelings toward my brother right now. All that has been shared and all that is too tender to share, and which we hold in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. We offer all to these into the embrace of this beloved community. If you need a listening ear this week after the service, you can stop by the pastoral care table in the hall, where you can light a candle or talk to our pastoral associate of the week, Nancy Coleman, or you can email pastoralassociates@sanjoseuu.org. Remember, you are not alone. And now we will sing Filled with Loving Kindness, number 1031. Don Hector, I will let you take it away again.
You can remain seated. May I be filled, may you be filled, may we be filled. 3 times.
Like most of us, I would imagine, I learned very little about the Japanese-American experience with internment camps in the World War II when I was in school. However, I learned much more from one of my best friends of 45 years, who is Japanese-American and whose parents were both in internment camps when they were teens. The horrors of being forced to move from their homes with no recourse lives in the memories of those survivors who are still alive, as well as in their families and the community. Diane took her mother at age 90 on a pilgrimage, including her children and grandchildren, to the camp where she had been locked up for 3 years. It was a powerful experience for all. When I moved to Japantown 3 years ago, I started getting involved in community activities. One of those activities has been attending the Day of a Remembrance, which commemorates the day in 1942 that President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Executive Order 9066, which gave the U.S. Army the authority to remove civilians from the military zones established in Washington, Oregon, and California during World War II. And that was based on the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. This same act from 1798 is being used by President Trump to justify the detainment and deportation of people they target. The Japanese American community in San Jose started Neighbors Not Enemies Coalition of San Jose, Japantown, which focuses on organizations in the Japantown community. To quote Susan Hayashi, who's one of the leaders, this campaign is part of building the democratic infrastructure and political power of the San Jose Japantown community, which is historically oppressed and still rebuilding from displacement, erasure, assimilation, and disempowerment, as well as current challenges to our physical survival as posed by the process of gentrification. In an act of compassion and alliance, First Unitarian Church has voted to join with Neighbors Not Enemies Coalition as an ally friend of the coalition. There are several ways that we can support the activities and goals of the coalition. Educating ourselves and others about the oppression of the Japanese American population now and in the past. Supporting the Neighbors Not Enemies Act that has been introduced to U.S. Congress by Representative Ilhan Omar and Senator Mazie Hirono. Continuing to oppose the actions taken by this administration against immigrants and the violation of their due process rights, and being a voice for love, compassion, and action for the good of all people.
Our musical offering for you this morning is a composition by the wonderful, the amazing Eric Whitaker. Eric wrote this in the early part of 2020. He wrote this song when we could not sing together. And yet he knew that we must sing together. Before pandemic, Whitaker had debuted a marvelous way of having people sing together no matter what. He came up with virtual choirs that no one had ever seen before. People had done virtual choirs. They had put some folks together, but not like this. And ultimately, Whitaker took this song, Sing Gently, and he managed, through a lot of technology and a lot of sweat, to get over 17,500 people to sing in one choir. Now, we are not quite 17,500 people.
But we're working on it.
We're working on it. And you're welcome. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, right here. But the message of Whitaker's piece stands. Matter of fact, in many ways, it's more profound than ever. We must sing together. With everything in this world, we must sing together. So what we have found in putting this piece together is that this has been therapeutic for us as a choir. I have them circled here, and they may be a little bit closed off to you. It's nothing personal, trust me. But to give them a chance to sing to and with one another, to interact in a way that just sitting here, everybody's singing forward. And the basses are singing into the back of the tenors, or singing into the back of the altos, singing into the sopranos are like, I can't hear anything but my own section. Now they can. And so this has been very therapeutic for us. The message at one level is for this little group right here. The message at another level is very much for this beloved community right here. And there is one more layer to this larger world. All the trouble, all the pain, we must sing gently.
That, my friends, is a very hard act to follow. That was gorgeous. San Jose State, BA Music, class of 78.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock.
There you go. My wife would frown at it. She's leader of the choir at our church. So, good morning. And thank you for all of you for being here today. And if there's folks online, thank you for tuning in as well. I'd like to thank the members of the First Unitarian Church for inviting me here, and in particular to both Dena Dickinson and Bill Bowman for reaching out. This is a wonderful experience. I'm in awe of your facility and your congregation and the music. This is just a wonderful experience, and there's so many connections. It's already been mentioned that we are all interconnected. And I've got the music connection. My wife is Japanese American. Her parents were in the internment camps, so we know of that. And the link to Buddhism. There's so many things that you've already covered here. But in any case, so yeah, I'm from San Jose Buddhist Church, Betsuin, which is right in Japantown. And it was mentioned about the internment camps, but you may not know that our two congregations are really linked in history. Because while our Sangha members, Sangha is what we call our congregation, while our Sangha members were interned, this congregation helped to protect the property on 5th Street. And it was very important because that property was protected so that it was ready for the members when they came back from internment camp, because many people had lost their homes in that process. And so they stayed at the Buddhist church, in some cases for months, sleeping on the floor of the temple and of the gym next door and so on, until they could find a new home to go to. In fact, we have a member who just recently turned 100, who was so appreciative for the fact that when he came back from camp, had that place to stay, that to this day, he still comes almost every day of the week and tends to the garden and so on. So deep thoughts there. But fitting nicely into that story of the past, I'm here to discuss the Buddhist view of compassion. You've already touched on it in so many ways. Now, I should tell you that compassion is a central tenet of Buddhism. And so any discussion of compassion could take hours. Luckily for you, Bill has given me a 15-minute limit, so I should get to it. Now, depending on whom you ask, there are either 2 or 3 major branches of Buddhism. The first is Theravada. And Theravada, sometimes referred to as the path of sages, is the most like the Buddhism of Shakyamuni Buddha, the founder, if you will, of Buddhism. It's a very singular path that focuses on personal enlightenment. The practices are rather individual. It's a monastic tradition, and so that's why it very closely resembles what Shakyamuni Buddha went through. The second branch is Vajrayana. And this is this covers the esoteric forms of Buddhism with, for instance, Tibetan Buddhism. So think of the Dalai Lama, being one of the more, Tibetan Buddhism being one of the more well-known of the esoteric. And the third set is Mahayana. And Mahayana literally means the larger vehicle. And this concerns itself with the enlightenment of all sentient beings. A subset of Mahayana, Pure Land Buddhism, was created in China. And the Pure Land tradition continued to the east, through Korea and into Japan. And then my sect of Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu, is a Pure Land tradition. And that Jodo Shinshu means true Pure Land teachings. So as I said, compassion is central to the Buddhist teachings. Buddhism is focused at its core on enlightenment, which is to see the world as it really is, not clouded by our personal judgments or preconceptions, or even our experiences. In my opinion, the general view of compassion across the many schools and sects of Buddhism, and there are thousands of sects of Buddhism, is fairly uniform. What the difference is somewhat minor, and it comes in terms of the practice. Part of what makes compassion so essential is that a component of it requires that we take time to understand the world through the views of others. And I'm not talking here about walking a mile in someone else's shoes. It actually goes much deeper than that. I like to start with definitions. So it helps me clear out the incorrect assumptions I may have about words I'm trying to better define or understand. The Oxford Online Dictionary defines compassion as sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. That is a terrible definition. And I hope you'll see why. Remember that the Buddhist tradition I practice comes from 13th century Japan. So I lean a lot on definitions found in the kanji or Chinese characters of that language. And there are two words which are used to convey the idea of compassion. One is ninjo, which means human feelings or emotion, and the other is dojo, which means equal feelings or emotions. Now, many of you have heard the term dojo before as referring to a place of practice or teaching. If you've done martial arts, they often call the practice hall the dojo. Same pronunciation, different kanji characters. Ninjo relates to human feelings or emotions, and that makes sense. Nin means person or human, and jo, just like the jo in dojo, means feelings or emotions. The do in this word dojo means equal. So, equal feelings and emotion. We're trying to achieve a level of understanding and feelings and emotions with another human being. Buddhist author and teacher and minister Pema Chodron, in her book, The Places That Scare You, says compassion is not a relationship between a healer and the wounded. It's a relationship between equals. Only when we know our own darkness can we be present with the darkness of others. Compassion becomes real when we recognize our shared humanity. Now we're seeing some differences. Compassion requires a level of shared humanity. One of my favorite authors, and decidedly not a Buddhist, is Brené Brown. In her book, Atlas of the Heart, she defines compassion as the daily practice of recognizing and accepting our shared humanity so that we treat ourselves and others with loving kindness and we take action in the face of suffering. That, in my opinion, is a great Buddhist definition of compassion. It contains the elements of recognizing our shared humanity, the wonders of loving kindness, and the real key in Buddhism, action. The Sanskrit word for compassion is karuna. It's important that we do not confuse compassion with sympathy or pity. Having compassion is not the same as having sympathy for someone or offering them your pity. These can both be seen as condescending to the recipient. And while it may be more closely related, compassion is also not the same as empathy. As Dr. Brown writes, empathy is a tool of compassion. It's an emotional skill set that allows us to understand what someone is experiencing and to reflect back that understanding. From a Buddhist perspective, compassion is the sheer wish for all beings to be free from suffering and its causes. You said that in your loving kindness hymn. It was beautiful. And that's from the Metta Sutra. Another important teaching in Buddhism is the idea that all beings and things are interdependent. We touched on that. Thus, compassion naturally arises in us when we truly understand the interconnected nature of existence. We have to realize that our own suffering and that of others are fundamentally not separate. This isn't an emotional response. It comes from the wisdom of seeing clearly. Wisdom and compassion are inseparable. Our tradition, Jodo Shinshu Buddhism or Shin Buddhism, places the highest value on this pairing of wisdom and compassion. At the center of our altar, we have a statue representation of Amida Buddha. Amida is the Buddha of wisdom and compassion. The statue shows the representation of Amida with hand gestures or mudras of wisdom, finger to thumb, 3 fingers outstretched with the hand up. This is wisdom, and the other is same finger positions, but held down. It's compassion. The Sanskrit word for wisdom is prajna. These two concepts, prajna and karuna, wisdom and compassion, are inseparable, because wisdom without compassion just becomes a sentiment. And compassion without wisdom becomes a sentiment. Wisdom without compassion is empty and cold. One of the most difficult aspects of compassion in the Buddhist context, especially right now in our world, is that compassion must be universal and impartial. We can't pick and choose the targets of our compassion. It's our teaching that compassion is meant for all sentient beings. Our compassion must be impartial. We don't know the causes and conditions that lead others to do things that may harm us or annoy us or worry us. This is admittedly very difficult for humans to do. We're always searching for blame. Why did they do that? Why did they do it to me? Why were they allowed to do it? And especially in our current times, this may be particularly difficult. Now, our youngest daughter is transgender. How do I tell her that she must show compassion even to those who would deny her very existence, or say that she should be institutionalized because they believe that all transgender people are mentally ill? How do I tell my daughters, my daughter-in-law, and my wife that they should have compassion for the people who want them to have no say over their bodies and have no vote in the democracy? How, as a Buddhist minister, do I tell my Sangha, my congregation, or any of the non-Christians that I know, that they should have compassion for the Christian nationalists who would love to make them either all convert or be relegated to a lower tier in our society? You know, Bill touched on this earlier. Part of Mahayana Buddhism is the idea of a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is someone who defers their complete enlightenment and returns after death to this world of birth and death. We call it samsara, in order to help other sentient beings work toward their enlightenment. In my view, the bodhisattva ideal is the ultimate expression of compassion. After all, a Buddhist dedicates their practice to the concept of enlightenment. Then, when they could take their place with all of the other Buddhas, instead they turn around, come back to samsara, delaying their entry into the Pure Land, and they instead help other sentient beings with their enlightenment. Now, before you get the picture in your mind of Clarence, the angel, in It's a Wonderful Life, trying to earn his wings, a bodhisattva is not necessarily an angel. In fact, your bodhisattva could be a completely despicable human being. Their goal may be to help you understand how to use your compassion for every sentient being. I won't bring up any names in particular, but I'm sure you might be able to think of a person or two in our society that could really be a test of your otherwise good nature. Our compassion comes from our ability to see others without judgment. It's not feeling sorry for them or having pity on them. These are both belittling to the other person. We don't pretend to understand what they are going through as much as we understand the emotions with which they are struggling. As Brene Brown said, we recognize our shared humanity. We all struggle from time to time. We make mistakes. Misfortune finds us through no fault of our own. How do you practice compassion? You've all heard the old quip that goes, you were born with 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you talk. Now, I think that analogy and the resulting math is wrong. I say we are born with 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth, so we should be speaking only 20% of the time. We should be listening and observing with the other 80% of the time. And in fact, even that 20% for me is high. Cut it in half, and I think you're on the right track. When someone comes to you with a problem, or you notice a friend or family member who seems down and you ask them, what's wrong? What do you do next? You don't have to say your answer out loud, so be honest with yourself as you think about this. Do you listen deeply to what they are saying? Do you watch their body language to see if it matches their words? Do you listen for words that they keep repeating? Do you listen for what they're not saying? Or are you busy thinking of an example of how you have it worse than them? Or are you trying to find the words to put together to solve their problem instead of really listening? Compassion is not about solving their problems. Compassion is about allowing them to have the opportunity to express their emotions. It can be difficult to deliver advice or solutions without making some level of judgment about the speaker. In my various roles as a minister, a professional coach, an ally for LGBTQ+ individuals and parents, and as a dad, listening is by far my most important skill. And by the way, the toughest situation to practice what I'm preaching is when I'm in the role of dad. Anybody relate to that? So to wrap up, let's review some key points. Compassion is not the same as sympathy, pity, or empathy. Compassion, using Brené Brown's excellent definition, is the daily practice of recognizing and accepting our shared humanity so that we treat ourselves and others with loving kindness and we take action in the face of suffering. Compassion, according to Pema Chodron, is not a relationship between a healer and the wounded. It's a relationship between equals. Wisdom and compassion are inseparable. Without wisdom, compassion is mere sentiment. And without compassion, wisdom is cold. Compassion is universal and impartial. It must include everyone. The Bodhisattva who defers his enlightenment in order to help everyone else with theirs is the ultimate expression of compassion. And the key to showing compassion is to listen and watch without judgment, without comparison, and without offering solutions. Thank you very much for your listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
Our closing music this morning, number 1021 in the Teal hymnal, Lean on Me, Bill Withers. No, our setting isn't like the recording that you've heard all of your life. It's okay. We're singing out of the book, though, okay? Things may happen in different order. It's not even the same key, but that's okay. Stand up and let's lean on one another. Get through. Here we go. Just call on me, brother. When we need a hand, we all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. That's the way we do it.
Please remain standing for the benediction. Oh, extinguishing the candle, sorry.
Now we will extinguish the memorial candle. The warmth will be gone. The light will cease to shine. Our candle becomes cold and lifeless. But what of its warmth and color? What of the brightness it has given to our lives? That light shines still, though it is no longer part of this candle. That light is now an immutable part of our cosmos. And so it is of the influence of Bill Shepherd, in whose memory this candle has burned. In mystery we are born. In mystery we live. In mystery we die.
As we close, we are grateful for the opportunity to come together in fellowship, to learn from each other, and to reflect on what we have learned. We are encouraged to open our ears, our eyes, and our minds so that we may become better citizens of planet Earth. Thank you.
And then generally we stand by the doors for people to go out and have coffee.